Invitation to pledge. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And give us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Superintendent, do we have any recognitions this evening?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, we do have recognitions this evening. It's always a bittersweet opportunity when our employees reach a point in time in life when they're able to retire and move on and enjoy their lives. In order to get this presentation started, I'm going to ask Mr. Busey, Director of Transportation, to come forward and get us started.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for all coming. I want to introduce a young lady to you tonight, Ms. Lynetta Myers. Please come up, ma'am.
How are we gonna make it there?
Ms. Myers, we were, Hendry County was blessed of 1987 to get her as a substitute here to drive a bus for 2 years. She took in I believe in '89, she took a full-time position to drive our buses. That's like 35 plus 2 for counting the substitute bus drivers. So she's hauled a lot of our babies. Bus drivers, we have to be 100% in the AM and in the PM every time. We can't go at 95% or 80%, and Ms. Myers has done that a lot throughout her career, daily. I'm sure we have a couple of speed bumps, but that's why buses just ride right over those things. So we're really happy to see her go, but happy for her to have her and go on to endeavor our new lives or go and do what she wants to do. I did get her to say that she might come back and, after she gets a couple things in, I told her, you have my cell phone number, call me, we'll get you signed up. So, 35 plus 2, so 30 years total in Hendry County. I've been in my position for a little bit over 3.5 years, and she's one of those solid ones that come to work every day and does her job. And we were blessed to have her.
She was walking up, Reverend Brown said, "What are we going to do now?" He's right. He is absolutely right. So early on in my teaching career, I decided to get my bus driver's license so that I could drive my students to things that we went to, whether it be the school farm or events or contests. In order to do that, they made us ride with drivers and do rides so that we could at least learn that aspect of it. Whether we used it or not didn't matter. We still had to pass that piece of it. And it wasn't until then, and I'd already been teaching a good number of years, but it wasn't until then that it came to fruition to me. The bus driver that I was with in the morning time, she welcomed the babies on the bus and said good morning and hugged a lot of them. And I just sat there in amaze at every student stopped and got a little loving from that bus driver. And in the afternoon, the babies would stop and get him a hug, and she would hand one of them some extra clothes that her children had that no longer fit. And so it became glaringly obvious that the school day wasn't centered around the classroom time, it was centered around everyone in the continuum of education. A lot of times, that friendly face on the bus is the very first face that babies see in the morning with a smile. They know the bus drivers love them, and the bus drivers matter. The principals tell us we can tell when the bus drivers are absent because the substitutes don't do as good a job of getting the babies excited, woke up, and ready for school. And that speaks volumes. And there's no doubt in my mind that Ms. Myers has been hugely impactful in ways that we won't be able to measure, but in our hearts we know that she has. And so we're eternally grateful for the years that you spend here. We hope that you spend a lot of years enjoying life and the things that you love to do. So we have a couple of things for you. The first thing is a certificate that says, a certificate of recognition for Ms. Lynetta Myers, bus driver for Coastal Transportation, in sincere appreciation and gratitude for 35 years of dedicated service. Your wisdom and commitment and excellence have inspired many and will be remembered for years to come. We wish you good health, happiness, and continued success in your retirement, and a nice little card for you for all the hard work that you have done. Thank you very much. You want to say anything? You're welcome to. You don't have to. Sing a song. We can do that. All right. Nope. Thank you. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you.
On to presentations. Mr. Superintendent, do we have any presentations?
We do have a presentation this evening. You know, in a community, we know that our school system is hugely impacted because of the big sprawl that we have amongst our students and what we do. Our school system and our students and community is also impacted because of the programs and organizations that are present as well. Our churches, you know, they have a huge outreach and a huge impact on the citizens and make a huge difference. And I don't know exactly how many years ago, but it's been a good handful of years ago now, the Glades Life Matter organization has started, and they have organized some phenomenal things for the citizens, not only to band together, but also to be recognized all the way across this nation. And I know that y'all have been on trips, and the Glades Life Matter organization has been a huge driving force for our community, our students, and our schools. And this evening we're here, and we're going to hear from Ms. Holmes, and she's going to talk to us about the Glades Life Matter and kind of give us an update as the executive director. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, I think it is, not afternoon. Good evening to the superintendent and the entire board. I greet you on behalf of Glades Life Matter and our founder, Janet Taylor. So glad to be able to work alongside her sometimes. And
I know how you feel.
let me just expound on Glades Life Matter. And I've been the executive director for the past 2 years. Very excited to do this job. I get a chance to do something I love doing. I'm not a stranger to mentoring students and working alongside students in this capacity. I ran a program, Project Success, when my children were in school for 8 years. And we had the opportunity to take kids to different colleges and out of the state, kids that never had that exposure. And that's why we're so excited about Glades Lives Matter, because we get a chance to expose kids in the Glades area to things they may never get the opportunity to be exposed to. So let me tell you a little about Glades Life Matter. We are a grassroots advocacy organization, and we deal with issues all around the lake. And that's Glades County, Hendry County, and Western Palm Beach County. So I deal with students from Moorhaven, Clewiston High School, Glades Central High School, it's really Glades Central Community, Pahokee High School, and also Crossroads Academy. That's an alternative school in Western Palm Beach County. We choose 3 students from all of those schools every year. For the past 8 years, we've chosen students and given them scholarships. So to expand what we wanted to, the impact we wanted to make, we implemented an ambassadorship program. And we choose 3 students from each school, and they talk about, we choose them by, they speak on what they love about being from the Glades. And every year, so this year, I'm here to share with you tonight because this year was our first year taking the kids in ambassadorship level to Tallahassee. So I'm just going to share it with you. I have a slide I'm going to share with you about our whole entire year. I want to give you an idea of review. And I can't always walk and chew gum, so let's hope I can do this. Okay, so part of our program, we want to expose the kids to local economy, and we chose this organization, Finfrock Corporation. They're located in Belgrade. Finfrock is a cement company. You go to West Palm all the time, you'll see it on the left-hand side, right by the sheriff department. And the owners of the corporation, Laura Finfrock and her husband, came down and spent the entire day with the students, teaching, telling them about how their family, their 3rd generation started the corporation. They build hospitals, they build schools, they build hotels, and the students had an opportunity to go on site. They got an opportunity to see how the cement is formulated. They also got an opportunity to simulate building their own high skyrise and their own structure. And so they learned about local economy there in Palm Beach County. It's a new company there, hasn't been there 2 years. They currently employ 55 employees. Their goal is 200. If they reach that goal, then Palm Beach County is going to give them a whopping incentives. So they learned how being able to employ families in the Glaze area, how that impacts the local economy. They got hands-on experience with that. One of the other things we do is involve the kids in community events. We teamed up with the criminal justice students from Clueston High School and hosted the annual senior citizen program that we do every year here in Clueston. And Palm Beach County, we teamed up with the FFA from Glades Day, and we worked alongside the pastors and the elected officials there for the pre-harvest prayer program they did in South Bay this year. They learn about local industry, and around the Glades, we know our local industry is U.S. Sugar, and on the western Palm Beach side, it's Florida Crystal. So they got an opportunity to meet the mayor. They got an opportunity he greeted them. They got an opportunity to ride the train, actually go into the cane fields and get that entire tour. They had an opportunity to meet our local farmers. They're at the Chamber of Commerce, and they spent the whole entire day in the cane fields and learning how the industry impacts the communities there. And a lot of them have family members that work for the industry, and so it was hands-on seeing how we are one in the Glades area. We have an opportunity to connect with the local school districts. This year we were able to participate with the middle school with their first annual career day. That was fantastic. I had a ball. And we also got an opportunity to participate in Palm Beach County with the Crossroads Academy. They have an oratory contest each year, and we were able to present the winner this year. We got a chance to be a part of that. At Clueston High School, I got a chance to speak to all of the seniors to tell them a little about the program when we were doing recruiting. So I thank our principal for allowing us to do that. At Glades Central High School, we teamed up with Representative Edmonds. He runs a program, Suits for Seniors, where he helps seniors get dressed for interviews, and it's a mentoring program he does there. We partnered with him to bring 3 of his students with us to Tallahassee. So that was a great experience. And of course, in our free time, we do TikToks. So far, we don't know for how long, but right now we do TikToks. We have an opportunity for the first time this year to offer 2 of our students collegiate internships. And I just found out on Friday that one of the students will be from Clueston High School. I'm very excited about that. I can't tell you the other student will be from Glades Central High School. So the collegiate internship, these 2 students will spend 2 weeks at Tuskegee University with researchers there. We know Tuskegee University to be famous for the Tuskegee Airmen, but it's so much more than that. They are on the cutting edge of research and of science, and not just in the nation, but in all over the world. They travel all over the world, so we know that they are key in providing different programs for internships. So they will spend 2 weeks there with those scientists and with those researchers. It's an awesome opportunity. So once we know who that student is, I'll be sure to let you guys know. And they came down, they actually will get a chance to meet the researchers later on this month. And our superintendent actually got an opportunity to meet a couple of them. And I just want to share this with you, what was said. There was a small meeting, and when they left, they said out of everyone that participated, that our school district communicated that we have a plan. We looked and assessed what we needed in our school district, and we actually came up with a plan. And they were very impressed by that. Superintendent. So they'll get an opportunity to meet them. We're very, very excited about that, being able to provide that for the students, and we get to get someone from Clueston. Not that I'm biased. We also do Champion of the Glades. We get to work hand in hand with our legislators occasionally, and the students presented a Champion of the Glades award to our Senator Berman this year. Lauren Mello, we presented that on last year, and to Javante Edmonds this year. So they get a chance to work with the legislators, and we give them awards every year, and those were our recipients. And every year when we go to Tallahassee, the last thing I'll share with you is about Tallahassee because it's so much fun. Every year when we go, we take the students to see the two colleges that are right by the Capitol. We only get a chance to see two, so we take them by FAMU and also by FSU. Now, at the Capitol, there are a lot of alumni there, and we had a graduate last year, Laura Davila. She graduated last year, and from us going, we were able to make some wonderful connections with the alumni there, and they text her and keep up with her. So we're very excited about those opportunities, and of course, I say this, we get to, I'll forgive the students that go to FSU. They're learning. So this is our year at the Capitol. This is our day. We spend 2 days and we take guidance counselors, we take parents, we take the student, the parents, the guidance counselors, because we believe it's a group effort. Our students need the whole spectrum to be successful. So we take them, and so there's a place we have dinner every year called Joe Ellen's. It's a local restaurant there, and while they're there, the interns and the aides from the legislators meet them there, and they exchange phone numbers, and they give them pointers, and they find out what schools they're going to see how they can help them. So that's a great time there. That's them on the steps of the Capitol, in the chambers of the Senate, and all around the Capitol. We spend the whole day there. It's a wonderful time. And that's our whole entire year in review. I'm going to give one of our students an opportunity. I'm going to give you a chance to ask questions if you would like. I'm going to give one of our students a chance to just come share his experience with us this year. Damari Holbeck.
Well, I am one of the students Ms. Holmes forgives for going forward.
I'll support you.
Thank you. Somebody in the building. My name is Damari Holbeck. I'm a senior at Moorhaven Middle High School. I serve as the senior class president, student government president, and also Future Business Leaders of America's chapter president. This year, Glades Lives Matter has gave me a great opportunity, especially when we went to Tallahassee. I wasn't, at the time when we went, I was not sure if I got accepted into Florida State just yet, but I believe there were signs getting to meet so many new people and making those connections. And the week after, I heard back from them they accepted me. I've been told they would have a great loss if we didn't. But I truly do thank Ms. Holmes and Ms. Taylor for this opportunity, especially for students that come out of these small towns like Lewiston, Moorhaven, Belglade, to give us opportunities that we do not get to see on the daily. So going to the Capitol, seeing how legislation works and all of those good things was a great opportunity. And I just thank you all for giving us this time to come speak to you, to give us our year in review, and that's all I have to say. So.
Damari is here tonight because our student from Lewiston, Raylan Paniagua, is extremely busy. So she had meetings tonight and she's a part of everything. But she represented Lewiston. We actually started out with 2 students. One of the students attended so many college classes she couldn't make all of our sets. So we only ended up taking 1 from Lewiston, but I know next year I'm going to have 3 strong students. Am I? To represent Lewiston. So I'm very excited about that. And the students get a chance to network together. And it was just, when we got to Tallahassee, they're in the room with all the legislators. They actually had a panel meeting. And they had discussions about what's important to them. They got to sit in on committee meetings. The committee meeting they sat on was, I think it was about vaping. And it was whether who makes cigarettes doesn't want the vaping company to do flavored vapes because it takes away from the people buying cigarettes. So they got to sit on that. It was very interesting. They got to sit in on whether or not our upcoming governors will get a $200,000 a year increase. So it's very hands-on and very interesting. I want to show you one more thing, if I can. Let's see if I can get it going. And I don't know if it'll go. IT guy, I'll make it go tomorrow, thank you. See?
That's
I
what
don't know if I'll hit it, if I'll go past it, or I'm not sure. I'll walk you to go.
Welcome to the Florida House. Representative Edmonds. Representative Edmonds, you're recognized for recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, if you can turn your attention to the left gallery, can y'all please stand for real quick? Y'all, please join me in welcoming the ambassadors from Glade Lives Matter, led by Executive Director Levita Holmes. Along with their parents and school guidance counselors, they represent the best of the Glade community: Clewiston, Belle Glade, South Bay, and Pahokee. These kids love their community, and they are a shining example of us and how special the Glades really is. They're not just rich in soil, but they're rich in people. Everyone, please give them a huge round of applause.
Welcome to the Florida House.
So they were introduced on the floor, and it was just a wonderful time. And I'm just very excited to bring these opportunities to our children here in Hendry County. I hope you guys continue to encourage us. I'm very thankful for the principal that allowed me to share what we offer with the students. And this year I want 3 students. We were only able to take 1, but if we have the opportunity, I want 3 students from Clewiston High School to represent us in Tallahassee. Thank you guys so much. You guys have any questions?
Any questions from the board?
Yes, did you find your seat up there? Because you look
Yes,
like
sir.
the long
Yes,
sir.
It's actually right up there in the front. Yes, sir. Thank
He
you.
actually had the tour guide that tours us, is a professor from FSU, and he tours us every year we go up there, so he was able to make that contact, so we already have somebody. It's really a great opportunity for our children from our area to reach and make those connections, that they meet people that when we are no longer with them, they still have somebody to see them about.
So they really do let people from FSU in there?
I thought it was strange too.
We have priorities.
Good man, good.
Right.
The only other thing I would ask, can we please inconvenience you with a picture with our student and with the board?
Oh, no, that's not a convenience at all.
Wherever you want to get.
You can stand up front if you like.
Right here. Nah, let's show my stomach a little.
And what we can do a chalk.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
oh, that's lovely.
Together.
It has, yeah. Thank you.
He's familiar with it.
You can take a picture with your phone too.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Very good. Keep up the good work. Okay. Well, this was called.
You all, we have to leave to go to commission meeting in South Bay. So y'all have a blessed rest of the meeting.
All righty, you do the same. Be safe.
Be careful. Comment, Mr. Superintendent, do you have any citizen comments this evening?
I have none at this time.
No citizen comment, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Does any board member have anything they would like to pull from the consent agenda?
Could I get a clarification on something without having to pull it?
Sure.
I think
Do our best.
you can.
item I, the Hendry County School Board accident waiver. So I was looking at that. When do you think we'd be utilizing that? It looks like it's almost a release from the EMS services and so forth. So I didn't know if that would,
Yes, sir.
when would we utilize that?
So for item I, it's the Hendry County School Board accident waiver, and, yeah, go ahead.
So you would only use that if your bus was in an accident on the side of the road where, you know, a minor accident.
Yeah.
The way the EMS policy writes, they cannot release a student, that either got to transport them, or they got to release them to a responsible adult. Obviously, the parents are not there, we're going to continue on and transport them where they need to be. So basically, all they're doing is saying, we're done with them, we're now giving them back to you like we already had them, and we can continue on supplying the service and taking them home.
I was wondering whether it wasn't for, because I'm looking at the numbers, I thought, well, that.
Yeah, it's just because it's just a waiver they have to sign for their liability reasons to say that they check the child out, the child's not harmed, and the child can go home.
Thank you, that's perfect clarification. Thank you. I have one more question. The institutional agreement between FSW, so I read that, and that thing is like about 30 pages.
Written by an attorney, no offense.
I was like, I try to understand this stuff as I go through it and stuff like that. And I understand that. Well, I guess my concern is when I go to the high schools and I talk to, in each high school we have somebody who works with those students. But because of the rules of FSW, they cannot provide our people that represent us there, the students' grades. And this really becomes difficult because a lot of the students come in with high hopes and stuff like that. They get a little overwhelmed, and even though we have somebody there to help them and encourage them, we're not allowed to see their grades. So we could be more preventative if we could look at them, maybe they're 4 weeks or 5 weeks into it, maybe they're behind a couple of homeworks or whatever they're doing, class assignments, but there's no way of knowing until that grade comes out and then it's published. And I didn't know whether there's any way to intervene in that situation. I'd love to see it because I think it would benefit us and our success and our students and their success. But we can't share that information right now.
So we met about this specifically last week with the leadership of FSW,
Yes.
and essentially it's federal HIPAA laws. And so since they're enrolled in their institution's not allowed to give it out to anyone except for them and or their parent, and then even the parent has to sign, be agreed upon to be there. What we were doing is working it backwards, so the school can't share it, but the student can share it if they find it necessary. Okay. And so what our guidance counselors and the leaders of those, either DE in LaBelle or the Collegiate Academy in Corson, they sit with the students, and the students then bring it up and share. It is a little more arduous and takes a little more time, but nonetheless, we're just having to be a little bit more laborsome and go about it through the student rather than through the university. So we wish we could do something about it, but we're not going to solve federal HIPAA laws.
Well, no, we don't need that. We have enough issues.
Yeah.
But if the students are willing to share it,
and that's what happens.
and if they're
right.
not willing to share, I guess that's an indication of that might be.
None are not willing. It's just a matter of time of getting all of them. Now you got to call all the students in and make set meeting times, and so that's the bigger issue.
Well, that was it for me. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Well, if we have no other item actions that need to focus on the consent agenda to an item action item. Mr. Superintendent, do we have a recommendation?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I recommend your approval of the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Hammerdike and a second by Ms. Nelson. Do we have any other discussion? See no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We'll move on to action items now. Mr. Superintendent, we have action item A, personnel recommendation from Ms. Chelsea Brown. Do we have your recommendation?
Yes, I recommend your approval of action item 5A, the personnel recommendation of Chelsea Brown as presented.
So moved.
Second.
I have to say I abstained from voting.
That's correct.
any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Aye. Motion, all opposed? Motion carries. Action item B.
Yes, sir. I also recommend your approval of action item 5B, the personnel recommendation, with the focus on Robin Basquin.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sammerdike was the motion, who seconded? Ms. Houston was the second. I'm going to abstain from this vote. Do we have any discussion on this vote? Roll.
Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. All right. Next item, Mr. Superintendent, we have your recommendation on 5C.
Yes, sir. 5C deals with our budget and how we shift monies around in order to maintain paying the bills and moving monies from one accounts to the other. And this is a budget amendment, so therefore recommend your favorable approval of action item 5C, fiscal 23 budget amendment as of December 31st, 2023.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Ms. Peterson, second by Reverend Brown. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Action item 5D.
Yes, sir. 5D deals with two policies, and so this will actually be proposed rule development as a hearing. And unless you have questions over them, I recommend approval of action on 5D, the hearing for the proposed rule development for district revisions.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sammerdike motions and seconded by Ms. Nelson. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Looks like we are going to board member business next. Mr. Superintendent, we have a recommendation on this calendar here.
So yes, so the calendar is going to be an FYI only, not asking for motions or movements tonight. What I wanted to do, we have been looking at alternative models for calendars for quite some time. We've been having quite a bit of discussion. And here's the genesis behind it, just so that you understand. We are in a situation nationwide, not unique to Hendry County, where a lot of folks are leaving the teaching industry, citing burnout, citing overload of work, citing the enormous workload that we're putting on them, the enormous rigor that we're putting on them, and without adequate funding to be able to increase their pay where we would really like to, what they're very well worth. We are looking at different models to try to be more appealing to a teacher schedule, to be appealing to a different model so that it provides more breaks throughout the year as opposed to a condensed break in the summertime. This actually is a national model that's used in several other states, and the state of Florida actually had asked earlier this year, and they are identifying schools as we speak to do this as a pilot program. We kicked around the idea of going after it and doing it as a pilot program, but ultimately decided not to, because doing one school and then having 9 schools not on that, it would just create a conundrum where if you had students, or if you had a child in one school and another child in another school, they're on different schedules. A bus schedule then becomes a nightmare because school's on different schedules and different time frames. So we decided not to do the pilot program because we could only enter one school into it at that time. So, however, we did share it out a little bit on the district level with the union. We've talked a little bit about it with some of our teachers on a level of, hey, this is just an idea. We're thinking about this. What do y'all think about this? And so we're at a point in time now where we need to either we want to give it deeper consideration and even put it before our teachers and start taking some votes on this. And so what this is known as a balanced calendar model. And so a lot of people call it year-round school. It is not known, please don't call it year-round school, because what that does, that gives the connotation that you don't have a summertime break, and that's not the case at all. Essentially, if you look at this, what the balanced calendar model does, you end school about the same time, that end of May, and you take about 6 weeks of school off, and then that gives the students and the teachers time to do what they need to do, go on vacation, rest, whatever they see fit at that point in time. We come back to school in mid-July, which is quite earlier than what we've ever come back to school. You go for 9 weeks and you essentially take 2 weeks off, have a 2 weeks intermission there. That really is one of the big ones that will be different. You come back to school for the second 9 weeks and you observe the same holidays. Those holidays don't change, so you still get time off for Thanksgiving, and then the end of that 9 weeks coincides with the Christmas break and you get those 2 weeks off. You come back to school in January, you still observe, you go through 9 weeks of school observing the normal holidays, and then roughly in that, you can see in that March time frame, around the same time we just have spring break, then you have another 2 week intermission. And then that really is the big difference. So you're taking a couple of weeks off in the summertime, you're adding them in that late September time frame, and then in March. And so this model, what it does is it's called the balanced calendar because it adds more breaks throughout the school year and longer breaks throughout the school year to give the teachers time for that rejuvenation, the recoup, the rest that they need to experience less burnout. There's a lot of research to support the positives of it with regard to education as well. We know that when students go home in our community specifically for the long period of time of summer, that many of them, especially with the community that we are well aware of, they don't have books in the home, they don't have reading support in the home. And we do know that we get a lot of negative cognitive slide with regard to student academic attainment. A lot of our students are dependent on us for nutrition. And when they go home for that amount of time, either they partake of the summer feeding programs, and we know many of them do not. A lot of them need special services, no matter if it's health counseling or the services they get at school, and then that long period of time they don't get that as well. And so the balanced calendar model not only provides a positive for the teacher, but it has equally or maybe even more significant positives for the student itself, either in the services, the continuum of the education, or continuum of the nutrition or mental health or whatever it may be of the student. So we believe that the balanced calendar model would be a positive, very, very high level, outside of the box approach to a calendar that we believe will bring significant change. I reached out to a couple of superintendents that I had met and asked them about it, and in other states, Indiana was one, and I asked them how they did it, and he said, of course, when you go to a high level change, it was very frustrating, and they didn't know, there was a lot of misunderstanding. He said, we've been in it about 4 years now, and they actually threatened, his quote unquote, he said, they threatened to hang me if we ever talk about going back to a traditional model. They love it so much. There are some districts here in Florida that actually use this now. Charlotte County has a model of this, and with a very successful model in an elementary school, where the students, the parents, and the teachers absolutely love it. Some of the drawbacks from a parental side, it is a different model with regard to the time off. Now the parents are accustomed to having the time off in the summertime to where either if they need childcare, and they've already got that arranged, and that's kind of set in stone because that's the way they've done it since the beginning of time. This would cause the same amount of time. It still has 180 school days, 196 teacher days, but those days off now are spread throughout the school year. And so it would be a little bit different. No more days, but just at different times. One of the positives of that is if you're a parent and it's hard to get a vacation time because everything's in the summertime, this model would allow parents to plan vacations throughout the year. If you didn't want to go in summertime because it was hot, we want to go see the leaf change in late September, October. Now you can do a northern trip or a cruise or something. And in different weather and different climates where we typically can't because of the traditional school calendar model. So and what I urge you to do is don't pay a lot of attention to the days on here, because but the model itself with regard to 9 weeks, 2 weeks off, 9 weeks, 2 weeks off. We still have some tweaking to do with this with regards to teacher work days, where they go, and a few things like that. So please don't get caught up on that at this point in time. This still has to go through. We want to have an overwhelming support of this and then bargain it, and so we will go through that process. But we just wanted to start with you guys because y'all asked about it, and you should know that this is what we're looking at, this is what we're thinking about. And now from this point forward, I would love to hear what you thought about it, but then when we leave here, then we're going to talk to our schools, our principals in a more formal setting and present it to them, and then ask them to give us their feedback, even numerically, on what that would be. Share it with the public, share it with the parents, share it with everyone involved, because we do need buy-in, not only from our employees, not only from the parents, but the community as well, because it would be a little bit of a different model, quite a bit of a different model if you will. So having said that, I would entertain any questions that you may have. May or may not have all the answers at this point in time because, and one thing important to note too, next school year, the 24-25 school year will be a normal school year with a traditional calendar and time starts as we have done since the beginning of schools here in Hendry County. Starting the 25-26 school year, we have to change our school start times. Essentially, and don't hold me to this exactly, but the elementary schools start about the same time, but currently the secondary schools get dropped off first and have a longer day. And the new start time, the secondary schools can't start until 8 and 8:30 time frame and then go later in the day. So we have to follow mandate of the state to change our school start times at that point in time. This calendar would coincide with that if we get the support from the board, from the teachers, staff, the community, the parents, and everyone involved. We are anticipating if we make the change, making that change at this point in time. And Ms. Buston did ask, if you'll notice it says option 2 in the top right. At this point in time, option 1 would be the traditional one. And so if we don't get that, then we would stay with the traditional one. A lot of folks have asked about a 4-day work week. Why don't you just do 4 days? And that would make, a lot more sense. At this point in time, and I spoke directly to the leadership in the Department of Education, and the Department of Education says at this point in time, they are not ready to support 4-day weeks for schools. So that's why that's not going to be an option. We don't want to be Hendry County starting 4-day school weeks without the Department of Education support. This one, we do have their support on. This one is their model, as a matter of fact, and what they have asked us to look at as school districts. So, having said that, if you have any questions, I would love to hear them.
Mr. Chairman, it means 9 weeks and 2 weeks off,
Correct.
all the way around the year.
Yes, sir. Well, with the exception, the month of June. So you still, at the end of May when school ends, you still take all of June and 2 or so weeks in July off. So roughly 6 weeks of summer break is what it roughly is.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
through the chair, I would, so when I look at this, it's not as jarring and scary as initially anticipated. But, as you speak about talking to the people or district stakeholders, I think about community stakeholders as well. And I'd like to get parent feedback as well as business feedback. Because, when I look at that, we just listen to Ms. Holmes come up here and talk about Glades Lives Matter. We are an ag-based community, and then we're having, during season, we're having would have these 2 weeks. And I know, 25, 26 gives people time to plan, but, when people are running all out, hard and fast during the season, just would like to get some feedback from the community and the business community to see how, they're anticipating this. Because I know like during summer you have, for childcare, you have summer programming. And so I think about in this community, this is not pushback, it's just something to think about. Is there going to be mechanisms in place or programming in place? Because we already struggle with private daycare and private childcare and after school stuff as it is. So that's something that I'm thinking about because we have I'm sure it's grown, but like last census, we're about like 47,000 people and everybody has, different needs. I know we have a common needs and wants and desires within the district, but the broader community, may have a different perspective on that. And so that's just something that I want to bring to the forefront and ask us to think about that. I don't think it would be too taxing to put this before parents, just a Google poll. I think this is something you're going to get a lot of interaction, a lot of interest and concern, or just interest and feedback from in general. And the second thing I'm thinking about is I happen to know a guy who plans his whole summer around summer maintenance projects. And does this take away from that time? Because I know like you have big projects that have to be done. Are you going to be able to get it done in the half of July and in June? So something to consider.
We really don't think that it will impede that. As a matter of fact, it may improve that. So rather than waiting until summer to pile everything on at one time, they've got, every 9 weeks, they've got 2 weeks where basically very few to no one on campuses where if they have to do major projects, it's actually easier for them to get on throughout the year.
Okay, and just my final thought on this is, you mentioned the challenges that we're facing, teacher burnout, that summer academic slide. Has this actually on paper, because, a narrative's great, but show me the data. Has this kind of model remedied those things? Has it improved teacher retention? Has it improved academic student outcomes? And the other issues that you mentioned on paper for any other districts?
Yes, well, again, Charlotte County has a very successful model of it academically in a school that's very similar to what you would see in Hendry County. And again, I can get some data from the one in Indiana that I spoke with, and there are several others as well. So yes.
Well,
So yes, I don't have to give you now.
I would love to see that because, it's, we're going to be making big changes like this. You just want to make your decisions based off of evidence-based. And so I would like to see those outcomes to see if it's actually, if it's just something to change or if it's something that has been effective in other districts. And then that concludes my comments.
I get a question or two. Mr. Chair? Just one. Well, how about it really quick? So the first semester is still over before Christmas?
Correct.
Right, I want to make sure with the high schools.
That is correct.
And then the other one, I recognize the calculator slide. I mean, I've worked in the schools forever. That summer, that long, almost 3 months, kids come back and they don't read very much. A lot of them don't, obviously, it's not good, but the majority probably don't. The other thing, when I was looking at this, we're still in an economically depressed community. There's no question about where we rank financially, both for the district and family income. Now, we finally established, I thought, a pretty good summer feeding program. After some difficulties, we seem to have overcome those issues. And what about, we got 2 weeks here, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks here. Are we going to be able to do a feeding program during those weeks?
Yeah, our contract with Sodexo continues to be very, what's the correct word, when we request things like that, they're always happy to be supportive of what we're doing there. So there's some things like that we have not talked about with them, but we're very confident, that I'm sure Sodexo would have no problem, making sure that there was feeding available or send home or whatever it may be. They're more than happy to do those things.
Very accommodating.
Yes, accommodating.
That was the thing.
You may see a lot more if there are no more questions. So we're going to go and make sure, I've already started with one school, and so over the next week to 2 weeks, we're going to make sure we hit every school and provide this to them. So if you get questions, if you don't know, please feel free to reach out. Funnel those to us from the parents or teachers or community members, so they may be. You'll probably hear a lot more about it because we are going to start pushing it really hard. We feel like that we need to come up with a decision probably by summertime, because that's only fair to do that, if people start planning that far out, and it would impact that 25 school year. And so we want to give enough notice to everyone, so we may want to establish this calendar by the end of school would be our goal.
Well, I will say that was one of the breakout sessions at our conference, at the FSB, conference in Tampa that we went to. And that was one of the sessions I went to. And all of the questions that you asked, and then 15,000 others you didn't ask, it's just phenomenal how many questions there was, and nothing but positive with the whole thing that Charlotte County was saying. That they, just like what Mr. Swindle was saying, that there was actually people that said, do not ever go back. That they had people wanting to come to that school, send their kids to that school for that reason. And so I think it would be wise to look at.
And teachers as well.
Oh, yeah.
So don't tell anybody outside of our teachers, because we don't want we don't want other districts doing it, and people want to go there as well. We want it to be just us.
There you go. Draw in. So yeah, so it was very positive in that breakout session that I attended up there for that. So, all right, we have no other discussion. discussion
And
on
I have one more
that?
thing I need to do. Oh, y'all finished? I got one more thing. I just wanted to give you another FYI. Today, the hard work of Mr. Sanchez, he's been working with the leadership of Florida Gulf Coast University, Go Eagles. And today they took 167 juniors from LaBelle and Quilson High School for the first ever junior tour of FGCU. And it was absolutely remarkable. And again, y'all know the communities we live in. This is the first time many of these students have ever touched a university or college of any level. So being able to open their eyes about the opportunities, FGCU rolled out the red carpet, gave them great tours. The president came in and spoke to them. And they had, before we left, we had over 50 students do letters of interest on the scan code to get more information. And we're sure there'll be more. And so, continuing to inspire our students to do better and do more, is very, very, very important to us, and that was a great way to do it. So we're very grateful for Mr. Sanchez's work, Dr. Oshko Timur, the president, and Dr. Eileen DeLuca. Also, it was their brainchild. They have made the statement, we want to grow our footprint in Hendry and be more of a partner for Hendry County Schools. So we're very, very pleased with that, and I just want to make sure you guys knew that happened today.
Well, if that is all, Madam Attorney, do you have anything to bring to the board? No? Anything else before we move on?
That's all for me, thank you.
All right. Mr.
Just a few quick things.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, maybe this is for Mr. Busing. How's our pre-K facility construction going? I just walked through there today. It looks like everything is moving right along. Are we pretty much on schedule?
Yes, sir, we're on schedule. Our roofing is starting tomorrow. All the materials have come in. We just have started the spackling and the plastering of one room. They called me out. I've been trying to push them for that, and I got to see one room that was all spackled up, and it looks really nice. Our electrical wires are all pretty much ran. We had our fiber pulled last week. Yes, last week. But we're on the move. We're not done yet, Mr. Samurai. You saw the bathrooms and the windows are in, the doors are in.
I love the windows.
They are really. They're not cookie cutters. Some are a little different, but I mean it's all the same sizes. We're going to spackle the whole outside of the building and the inside of the buildings. We're seeing progress, but we can't let off the gas yet.
On a side note, it's also noteworthy that yesterday district staff, along with pre-K staff from Lewiston, interviewed for the principalship of that. And so there should be an announcement within the next handful of days of who that leader will be, and so that they can move forward with the organization and get ready for the launch of that.
Oh, great. Okay, next thing. On Wednesday, I had the opportunity to go to Florida Thompson Library in Harlem, and that was an evening open house, and it is such a beautiful facility. Sometimes if people don't take that opportunity, it's full of computers and books, and Mrs. Brown is the librarian there, and she is so dedicated to teaching reading and working with the children in the community and stuff like that. I think everybody should take that opportunity to go see Ms. Brown at Florida Thomas Library. Florida Thomas was a librarian in this building, right here in this room, about, I don't know, 35 years ago. She was in here as the librarian. That's where Florida Thompson comes from. And then when she retired, she started the library out in Harlem. And she was a wonderful person and also a very good cook, I might add. And so anyhow, take that opportunity, please. Also, one more thing. In LaBelle High School, band is such an outstanding band. They've gone with competitions against Charlotte County, Lee County, and they do such a good job. They've been invited to national competition. And this Friday, they leave and go to Atlanta to show their stuff in Atlanta on a national level. So they won't be competing against our local company. She'll be competing against people from all over the United States. And we want to wish them the best of luck on that. That's it for me.
I've got my glasses. I made my donation. I don't have the glasses, but I just made a donation. I agree with you. But I got nothing.
Nothing. All right, very good. Reverend Brown?
No, sir, I have anything other than that. The library is going real good, and my wife is fully committed to doing all she can to educate our kids. And sometimes we have kids coming in that won't always speak up in class, but they will come to the library and ask the questions. So we're just excited about what they're doing. And the superintendent came to our little meeting there, and he spoke about the champion program. I've had so many questions about that, so I believe that program will be very advantageous for us to keep up. So that's all right.
Ms. Busey?
Yes, I would like the privilege of the 10 minutes that I banked from last meeting that I didn't speak, that added to this one. So it'll be 20 minutes, guys, buckle up. No, I'm just kidding. We're talking about calendars. I've already been getting requests from parents to know when our graduation date for 24-25 is going to be. And so I'd like to put that up for if we can figure out, because parents are going to be flying people in and want to start making accommodations and stuff. So that's something that is just of local interest. And also insurance. So I ran and, my family's been very blessed that we really haven't had to use our insurance before. Everybody's just been healthy. But I ran into a situation and it kind of gave me a different perspective. And got me chatting with poor old Darren about what our insurance plan looks like. And, we were discussing the insurance committee. I know we have an insurance committee that's already formed and meets about this. Is there room for a board member to sit on that?
I'll have to check and see. It's very, within the contract language, it's very rubricated who can and can't be on it.
Okay, because when I was looking at, my particular situation, I was able to remedy it. But, one of the things I think is something that we all probably universally share is we want to have an insurance package that is attractive. It would draw teachers in and keep staff here. And kind of like the situation I had would be adverse, and my family has the top tier of the insurance plans. And so I was just wondering if there's room in that for a board member, since it brings it back to us. And I know that when we made this decision to go with this plan and this company, I wasn't aware of that at the time. And just to have deeper detail and to investigate these benefits to see if we can add them or improve them without having an astronomical increase to that bottom line, what it's going to cost the district and participants.
But if you have it, meanwhile, whether you can or can't be on it, if there's specific things you want to discuss, I'm happy to do that as well.
I'll send you a list. But it was for diagnostic imaging, which is something that it's not an uncommon thing that you would need if somebody gets hurt. You have to have MRIs or PET scans, if there's concern for cancer or something like that. And just even at the top tier, how expensive that was and I ended up paying for it out of pocket and not through the insurance plan because it was so significantly less to pay for out of pocket than to use my insurance deductible. So, and I just thought you're a teacher or, you're in a different income bracket, how challenging financially that would be to other people. And I just don't want this to be, we want this to be a true benefit to people. And, just so I'll send you some more information on that, but, I just want to make sure that that used to be what people came to Hendry County for. We had the best insurance in the state. The good old days.
The prairie days.
Yep. And so that was just a concern that if there's room to be on that, I would love to participate. But with that concludes my comments for this evening.
Well, this meeting is adjourned.
Mr. Blake.